And now we go over to Netflix and Friends, and we have Clarice. And now the weird thing about this is that I don't think anybody can say the name Clarice without immediately thinking of Silence of the Lambs. I'm not sure anybody has been called Clarice since that film was released. I don't think anybody's called a kid Clarice. So once I hear that title, I'm like, that's actually a good title because it tells me this is in the Silence of the Lambs territory. Holly, was I correct?
Exactly, you are absolutely spot on. So
All right.
Clarice takes place pretty much immediately after Silence of the Lambs, and weirdly good casting. It is worth noting, and I'm having to check her name as we speak. Rebecca Breeds manages to look uncannily like Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs.
All right.
It is a 13-part series, which begins with Clarice having, trying to recover and get on with her life post Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
And this working with Hannibal Lecter to hunt down the awful serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
Hannibal Lecter is not in this, or certainly not at the start, and it begins with her getting dragged in to a case by the senator whose daughter she had rescued in
Silence
Silence of the Lambs. It's a sort of I'm trying to think what the word is. It's not an ensemble piece, but there's an overarching story arc across the entire 13, but each episode is moderately standalone and deals with Clarice overcoming her own demons, understanding who she really is, where she came from, in tandem with trying to help and not trying to help the young woman whom she had saved, and dealing with her own emotions around it. It's well structured. It's well shot, harrowing in places as you would expect, but it's interesting looking at it through the sort of adjusted lens of Silence of the Lambs, because I remember watching that in my early teens and being terrified by it. I haven't watched it in the last few years, but I'm fairly confident, having seen it again as an adult, that it's not actually frightening. Not really, if you're jumpy rather than scary.
Yeah, it's more of a thriller than a horror movie.
Yes. So whereas I think when it came out, one was sort of encouraged to think of it as a horror, which it probably was by the times, but isn't now. So Clarice is ultimately a thriller and a mystery, not a horror either. You are dealing with, obviously, brutal crimes, and it's
so
not faint-hearted.
So it's not like a CSI. It's not like every episode's a different thing. It's like one case throughout all 13 episodes.
There is both one case throughout. There is an overarching story arc to it, but many of the episodes could function as standalone.
All right.
So it's a little, therefore, the CSI, long story arc, but far shorter.
So do you think that this is something that could go on for quite a few series? Because when you say 13 episodes, I'm thinking that's a lot. That's a lot. And nowadays, a lot of 13 episode series, they tend to sag. They tend to sag in the middle and lose a little bit of the momentum, and it looks like as if they're just trying to fill out the 13. Do you think that this actually keeps it up all the way through, or keeps its point all the way through?
I think it probably does have a bit of a sag. I think, as you say, it's hard not to, but it's certainly, any drop off, it redeems itself in the end, and I would like to think, on the basis of how it ends, that it's closed the door on doing anything straight off the back of it.
Oh, you would hope, but Hollywood always finds a way. They always find a way.
Exactly. I have been so wrong about these things in the past. It's amazing things that should have been done at one series. So I hope they've got the good sense to, draw the line neatly under something which addresses, a whole range of complex issues, women, race, people being awful.
Yeah.
People being awful. I very much enjoyed it. Best thing I've ever seen? No. Would I recommend it to other people? Definitely.
How many stars?
3.5.
3.5. So, and for with that, what platform is this on?
It was Sky, I think.
All right, cool. So Sky showing us Clarice. Bring it because I think Clarice is a good character to actually sort of examine things like trauma and all that. But
Yeah.
Always.
it could go well or it could just be
Yes. And it goes right back into her childhood, and it's
Yeah, there was a bit in the Silence of the Lambs where they talk about her childhood. I never really understood that bit. I never understood what they were going on about. That's where the Silence of the Lambs comes from.
Stop crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think I've only seen Silence of the Lambs probably about 3 times. Each time I'm confused as to what significance that has. But I guess I just wasn't paying attention. Sean, you were going to say something.
Yeah, Holly, can I ask you one thing? Is it worth opening a bottle of Chianti when you watch these series?
really good question. I think it probably is.
It all depends on what you're eating with your nice bottle of Chianti.
Yeah.
So true.
Favor beans and leave the liver out of it.